Hello viewers, in this particular lecture on microbiology, I shall be speaking on some airborne pathogenic fungus. I have selected a unicellular Basidiomycetes, Malvasia, a filamentous Basidiomycetes which is pleurotus, and a mycelial Ascomycetes in the form of Aspergillus. And I shall conclude with different means of sampling fungal spore and characterizing it. Now to start with, we will discuss Malvasia, which belongs to Basidiomycotina. Class is Malvasiomycetes, order is Malvasialis, family is Malvaceaceae, the genus is Malvasia, and the common species is Farfar, though there may be other species. This particular fungus was denoted by Louis Malses in 1894, and it was named as Pitrosporum malses by Raymond Sabarod in 1904. This particular fungus is characterized by unique unicellular structure with sometimes filamentous outgrowth in the form of germ tube, and commonly it causes infection of the skin. And this infection caused by this Pitrosporum ovale is actually causing redness with certain hypopigmented spot.
Sir, why does Malvasia cause hypopigmentation on human skin?
Yeah, you see, this particular Malvasia will invade the melanocyte. So the melanin production will come down and it will appear as whitish spot. Okay. Now, as I was telling that this particular Malvasia ovale is causing skin infection, but Malvasia is known for its infection in the scalp, and this is commonly what is called dandruff. So dandruff causing infection is very common, where you can see typical low pigmented spot with skin, loss of skin, lot of skin is coming out, and it is endless, it will go on and on and on. And this type of infection is caused by Pitrosporum or Malvasia pachydermattis. But that doesn't mean that there is only two species. Actually, in the present day context, there are 10 recognized species, which include the Malvasia dermatis, Farfar, globosa, japonica, nana, obtusa, pachydermattis, restricta, sloophy, sympodialis, and yamatoensis. So these are the 10 important species causing infection in the skin and scalp. And this particular fungus can be also stained with methylene blue, giving a typical blue coloration, though we should keep in mind that they look like coccus bacteria, but they are larger, they are yeast-like, so this is also called Basidiomycetes yeast. Now, they can produce typical sporulation or spore-like structure, which is shown here in same study. And these spores will cause infection of the scalp. So basically, the scalp infection caused by Malvasia, Farfar or other species is most common. And this infection, you can see, this is the root of the hair and this is the Malvasia colonies, and they have invaded the scalp. So it is endless. Once the infection is there, it is very stubborn. It will not go easily, even if you use those shampoo which are anti-dandruff. And basically, this particular fungus is having typically 3 phospholipase and 8 lipase genes. And if we can block these particular enzymes, we can cure it. But we should keep in mind that this infection primarily will grow in those areas where oil production is more. So those person who is having oily skin will have more infection of Malvasia. Now it can be controlled in different ways. Primarily, it can be controlled by selenium compound, to be specific, selenium disulfide, or it can be controlled by this cyclopyroxolamine, or it can be controlled by zinc pyrithione or ZPT. These are common anti-malvasic compounds. Of course, we can also use hydrogen peroxide, and this hydrogen peroxide mixed with water in 1:1 can be very effective, particularly in Malvasia infection of the toes. Okay?
So, how is hydrogen peroxide used to combat Malvasia infection?
You see, H2O2 will destroy the pigment forming cells or melanocytes. So these melanocytes contains Malassezia. So naturally this will reduce the load of Malassezia. Okay, thereby the infection will be under control. Okay, good. Now with this we get into the next important group, that is the Aspergillus. Now here I told you that it belongs to Ascomycota. The class is Uroshiomycetes, order is Uroshialis, family is Trichomyceae, and the genus is Aspergillus. And the most common species that cause infection in human lung is the Aspergillus fumigatus. This particular fungus is having a typical septate mycelia with an apical vesicle and host of conidia produced from it. And it can be stained by methylene blue and appears blue, as you can see here. Now when it is grown on a petri plate with PDA medium, it will be growing as a typical greenish colony because the conidia are green in color. But sometimes there may be Aspergillus fumigatus growing in soil producing black colonies. So we can conclude that the colony growing in petri plate can be bluish, can be greenish, or can be blackish. Now typically they are producing conidia which can be from vesicle or which can be from typical bottle-like cells called phyalides. So these conidia are called phyaloconidia. Okay, and this particular fungus is actually characterized by typical thermotolerance. Ideally, this fungus will grow in human body temperature, which is 37 degrees centigrade, but it can continue to live up to 70 degrees centigrade, and it will also develop more in immunocompromised person and will produce certain compounds or alkaloids like this one, which is spirotriprostatin B. This particular spirotriprostatin B actually is an anti-cancer compound. So if there is infection, there will be some anti-cancerous principle involved with it. Along with it, it also produces a toxin, and this toxin is commonly known as an anti-inflammatory compound. It is commonly called the gliotoxin. Now when we consider the production of this gliotoxin, we will see that it is produced more in immunocompromised person. And basically the production of this gliotoxin comes from G protein mediated stimulation, and it will activate the protein kinase which will activate the Li-A gene, and this Li-A gene will produce series of compounds which can be polyketides, which can be the NPRAs, that is non-ribosomal peptide synthase, which include the gliotoxin, which include also certain pigments. So those fungi, because they are green or black in color, they are not due to chlorophyll, but because of this fungal pigment produced by this Li-A gene activated by this G protein mediated pathway. Okay.
Sir, is there any positive aspect of gliotoxin regulation?
Yeah, you see, gliotoxin is regulated by Li-A gene, which is also regulating the production of some antibiotic-like compounds like penicillin derivatives. So naturally, this particular penicillin production will prevent bacterial infection. So fungal infection is bad, but at the same time it can reduce bacterial load. Okay. Now, as I told you, typically the fungal life cycle of Aspergillus is divided into this green haploid and blue diploid status. These haploid cells actually will undergo nuclear fusion, producing the diploid cells, and these diploid cells will undergo reduction division, and typically it will continue. So what we want to say that typically it is alternation of generation between haploid and diploid status. But there is a parasexual cycle. What is that? It is because of the mixing of two vegetative nuclei, they will produce a cell with different set of character. So this phenomenon is unique for Aspergillus, which is called parasexuality, as a result of which they may produce more resistance to antibiotic or antifungal antibiotic. Now coming to the characterization of this particular Aspergillus fumigatus, actually Aspergillus fumigatus and Aspergillus oryzae, they are almost having 29 million base pair present in the 8 different chromosomes, and the chromosome size is more or less the same, but what is different is the association of genes. So this gene mapping has been done in both Aspergillus fumigatus and Aspergillus oryzae very recently in 2008. As I was telling, that this particular group of fungus is pathogenic. So it causes infection of the skin, and this type of lesion is very common, and particularly those persons suffering from blood sugar will show more infection because of Aspergillus. But most importantly, Aspergillus entering through the respiratory tract will colonize in the alveoli, will colonize in the trachea, and will cause severe infection of the lung, which is commonly called aspergillosis. And when this infection is there, it can easily be detected by X-ray. You can see these are the Aspergillus colony inside the lung detected by chest X-ray. And when it is entering the lung, this is the lung epithelial tissue, it will actually bind with the macrophage. There are other cells, but specifically it binds more with the macrophage, and there are some defense also, you know, the neutrophils are there which will form a network and will prevent the entry of the fungus. But if by chance it gets the opportunity to enter into the macrophage, straight away it will enter into the lung, and it will actually activate the helper T cells and will regulate the interferon production, or sometimes it will regulate hypersensitivity. So person may even die of hypersensitivity because of this colonization of this fungus in the lung. Now coming to the phases of infection, you can clearly see that the alveolar infection is there, followed by the what is called angioinvasion, meaning there is blood vessel in the lung, so the fungal spore or the fungal mycelia will enter the blood vessel, and once it is inside the blood vessel, it will percolate to other organ, so it will spread or disseminate to other organ. Okay, so that is dangerous. It might lead to multi-organ failure. Now it is a very common phenomenon. In order to survive within human body, they have certain strategies. And these strategies include nutrient acquisition, production of enzymes. Now, nutrient acquisition can be done by specific group of genes. We call it siderophore gene. So, siderophore genes help in the production of a compound called hydroxyferricrosine, which is actually binding with iron and will trap more iron and will make the organism grow. So, this type of siderophore activity is very common in this particular Aspergillus. Okay?
So, is the siderophore pathway the only pathway which helps in the iron uptake?
Yeah, actually you see, I was just going to this. It is not the only pathway. It is also dependent on mevalonate pathway. Mevalonate pathway will produce certain siderophore genes or will activate certain siderophore genes, which will ultimately make the organism take more iron. So, if through mevalonate pathway they can produce certain hormone like gibberellin. So if this fungal pathway producing hormone is activated, there will be more iron taken up. So it is not the only pathway, as you have pointed out. There will be other pathways also of uptaking iron. Okay. Now there may be some specific ways of controlling it, and ideally voriconazole, liposomal amphotericin B, these are the choicest compound. Apart from that, there may be newly developed caspofungin or itraconazole, which can also be treated for treating the infection of this particular fungus or aspergillosis of the lung. But we should keep in mind that once the colony is developing in the lung, there is no specific treatment. It will get worsened and worsened. So next we come to the third one, which is another Basidiomycetes fungi, but it is actually an edible mushroom. It belongs to Basidiomycetes. Order is Pleurosporaceae, family is Eurochiaceae, and the genus is Pleurotus, species is Sajarkaju. There may be other species. Now, how it is harmful? Actually, this particular fungal structure is typically a bracket fungi having a stalk, short stalk, typically gill, and a leathery pileus. But they produce certain low molecular weight protein, anything between 10 to 25 kD. And this protein actually is present in this particular spores of Pleurotus, and it will induce allergic reaction. So very often say, I am taking a mushroom, you are also taking, I will suffer from allergic reaction, you will not. So it depends on the production of allergen in my body to which I am allergic. Okay. So that way it is bad. But no, you must understand that it is not that much harmful. If we have some hypersensitivity, we should avoid it. Otherwise, it is not deadly like the previous one. Now we will see how we can trap and study this particular fungal spore. one important structure is rotorod spore sampler, where there is a typical U-shaped rod rotated by this particular motor, and it will trap the spore inside the Petri plate, and you will see typically colonies. And these fungal colonies can also be trapped by another one, which is called the Burkhardt spore trap, where there is a typical cylinder, metallic cylinder with a rotating wheel, and there is a slit below, and through this slit the fungal spores will be trapped and you will see those particular fungal colonies. But the most important fungal spore trapping or sampling device is this one, which is called the Anderson sampler. Anderson sampler is a multi-tier machine or device which is fixed horizontally, and each of these tier will have Petri plate with medium which will trap the fungal spore, and you can study these colonies. And this particular air current is provided with the help of a motor fitted along with it. So what we see is typically it is representing the human respiratory tract. Like the spores which are bigger in size, like say greater than 7 micron, will be trapped on the upper side, and the spores which are smaller in size gradually will grow down. And these particular spores which are trapped on the lower side may also include certain bacteria. So in this way we know that those particles which are smaller in size, less than 2 micron, they are actually called the respiratory particulate matter because they get into the alveoli. So typically it is mimicking the human respiratory system. And when we see the Petri plate, you can very clearly see that these smaller ones, these Petri plates must be fitted in the lower side because the size of the organism is smaller, and the bigger fungal spores are all trapped on the upper side. Not only that, the density of the colony will be more on the upper side. The more it goes into the lower side, it will be more filtered. So you can very well imagine if there is a more fungal spore in a particular environment, this fungal spore can easily be trapped in the lower Petri plate because the density is more. So this is the uniqueness of this particular device by which you can trap specific fungal spore if it is causing some infection. So in this particular lecture, I have discussed some toxic implications of Malassezia, Aspergillus, and maybe the minor one, that is Pleurotus, and I have also discussed some aspects of trapping spore, characterizing it through air sampler. Thank you.